Welcome to my little corner in the internet. I'm Nadine. I'm traveling with my dog Marjorie, and I welcome you wholeheartedly to Everyday Alchemy, where I walk the 12-week path of Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. Journey with me through the mess and magic of life itself. This is week 6, recovering a sense of abundance. Okay, so this is the recap, week 6. We are in week 7, but week 6 was about recovering a sense of abundance. And well, it was a week of abundance, of life itself, I'd say. Like I experienced not only abundance of good food and good friends and laughter, I also experienced the abundance of life itself with an opportunity to look at a core wound of mine. So I believe what this week taught me was that abundance does not only come in the form of unicorns and cotton candy and rainbows. Abundance is also something that lets you fully experience life and lets you fully dive into, or give you the option to dive into who you truly are and the fullness of you, right? And only if we look at the shadow, and only if we look to where it hurts and why it hurts, is abundance actually like a whole thing, right? Without growing, and we only can grow if we heal, and we only can heal if we look closely at what triggers us and why we are hurt, there is no real abundance. So I think the most stunning thing that I experienced this week is to see abundance itself from a whole new perspective, right? So true abundance doesn't only have one face. True abundance is also the whole circle to shadow as well as light, is what I'm trying to say. Now, we were asked this week to have a diary of every expense that we take to see where our money goes. We were asked to think about luxury, in a sense that luxury is not equal to scarcity, and that we might be surprised of what it is that we define as luxury. If I spend 20 euros or pounds or whatever on a set of new watercolors, that joy and sense of possibility brings me to at least 3 months of creating stuff that gives me joy. So luxury doesn't always come in the form of jets and expensive vacations, right? So we were asked to think about what it is that brings us joy, that is luxurious to us. It also asked us to really dig deep into what gives us true joy and what we believe source or God or whatever in, versus what source or God do I want to believe in. Like what were we brought up to think God or source or the universe is, but what would we want it to be, and then maybe edge closer to make it happen. Like if I believe source is abundant and is creativity itself, then it may just be that since source is within me too, I am abundant as well, and I am creativity as well, is what I think this exercise aims at. We were also asked to answer some questions like from the top of our head, what people with money are, fill in the blanks, which I really liked. And of course we were asked to cook or bake something, which was probably the easiest thing. I also said goodbye to Switzerland and my winter shelter, and we were on the road again. So writing 5 postcards to 5 friends was quite easy as well, because it matched the energy of the week of goodbyes and farewells. And it also asked us to pick 5 flowers and 5 interesting stones to sort of realize that there is a natural organic abundance out there as well. Of course, I did my morning pages, I did the affirmations, I did the artist's prayer. So week 6, it took a long time, but I've come now into the rhythm of, after my morning pages, directly go to my affirmations and then do the artist's prayer. So I'm glad that ritual sort of went now into a default mode. And then we are raised to believe that money is the real source of security. A dependence on source or the universe or God feels foolhardy, suicidal, even laughable. And I can actually subscribe to that, because whenever I talk about my situation or whenever I talk about my beliefs, I more often than not am asked questions like, and how are you going to pay for when you're old and you can't work anymore? Or how are you going to do this or that without the security of having an insurance, for example? And I don't know, I'm kind of like, I adhere to the legal stuff, like my car is insured, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to drive my car. But I myself, I don't have insurance. And yeah, it might be foolhardy and it might be laughable, but not one thing happened since I wasn't insured, right? And even if I was sick, or even if I had toothache or something, I was able, because I didn't have to pay the insurance, I guess, I was able to give myself the time instead to just live with the pain and ask why the pain is there, and even endure the pain and use it as a sort of foolhardy meditation, sort of, where you just go into the pain and breathe through it, if that makes sense. This quote struck me as being what really challenges me a lot, is when people come at me with this sort of, well, this is the reality, so you need to come back to this as soon as possible, because otherwise you will lose the footing and you will lose the carpet under your feet, right? Because you're not living in the reality, we are. And then reading this, I was like, yeah, it might be suicidal, it might be laughable, but I'd rather have this than what I experienced as the other side of reality, that made me completely unhealthy, that made me completely unhappy, and that made me like slip into not one but 2 burnouts, right? So then the other quote I wanted to read is, difficulty is a virtue and art is fooling around. And I really subscribe to that too, because when something isn't difficult, alarm bells start ringing in my head, and it's very strange, I know, but as soon as something is easy, I'm like, you haven't worked for this, so therefore you don't deserve it. And also, there's a catch somewhere, and also don't trust that. It doesn't matter if it's related to a art project. Like if I get an art project and the client says, just be completely free, do whatever comes to mind, I like your work, do it, and I pay you what you want me to pay you. My first reaction to that, instead of feeling warmth and feeling gratitude and feeling love, is, oh my goodness, there's a catch. He will not pay at the end when I'm done. And also he will not like it. And it's like the worst thing that could happen, and the worst thing that I could possibly imagine from other people comes when something's easy. So therefore, when I'm doing art, I also don't feel like it's worthy as a job, because it's easy. I love doing it. I can spend hours and hours and hours doing it. And in fact, this week I created, as an artist state, a canvas that was blank, and my friends trusted me with it, and I collected all these flowers from their grounds, because they have a farm, and then I dried them. And I was like, I was so into it and I loved it and I would do it all over again and I could do it for the rest of my life. But somehow I was like, nah, it's not good enough. Nah, it was too easy. It should be difficult. So that's like a mindset and a core belief that I really want to like strip off, because life can be easy. And especially for me now, with all of these concepts around money that I try to work myself out of, I feel like, yeah, I mean, literally, life is abundant, life is beautiful, and it doesn't need to be around how much money I have in my bank account. So it's a very strange quote. Difficult is a virtue, art is fooling around. But for me, it struck a chord, and that's why I wanted to share it. And the last one is, creativity is not and never has been sensible. So there's another thing. People always tell me, you're not sensible, you should be sensible. And you're choosing the wrong path because this is not how we do it. And this is not the sensible way to do it. And I realize now that, well, if I am an artist, and maybe I am an artist, then I am creative. And if I am a creative, then that means I will never be sensible. And I might just adhere to my own rules that may not seem sensible and may not be sensible, but at least I have the consequences to bear and not you. So my consequences from my choice are self-empowering. But if I take on someone else's sensible way and there are consequences, they are almost unbearable to me, because they are disempowering because I didn't choose them. I just did it because I thought that's how you're meant to do it. So I'm broke but I'm happy. There was a trend on social media once. I'm broke but I'm happy. That's where I'm now. And still I'm not really broke anyway, because I'm trying to cut cords with this kind of mindset of being broke. Because look at this, like, I'm out here and I might just have cheap Chinese noodles, and I might not like live in a healthy way food wise these days, but this gives me energy and I love it. And I don't know where I'll be sleeping tonight. And this is what is making me feel truly alive. And with that, I think I will leave you to it. Creativity is not and never has been sensible. And I'm gonna eat. See you next week.